Aloha, beautiful souls. Thank you so much for tuning in, spending some time with us today. This is Marissa Indigo of Divine DNA Blueprint Mystery School, and we are transmitting in from the forest. This is some codes from the forest, wanting to just touch in and share more of my Aquarius experiences. So this is also kind of an Aquarian transmission too. So you might hear me walking, I'm hiking and talking. And I have my water making noise too, so you might hear some funny noises. So here we are now, almost actually at the end of Aquarius, as the sun is getting ready to go into Pisces, which is a completely different energy. So we're going to go from not very emotional and more strategic and humanitarian and maybe scientist and just kind of a lab specialist from a spiritual perspective into deep, deep, deep emotion. Deep oceans of emotion. So I'm just reflecting on, okay, yeah, Aquarius season is wrapping up. This is what I've witnessed. This is what I have made decisions about. So important is to just choose, to just decide. And obviously do this with discernment. But it's time to just choose, just draw the line, just decide on certain things that you've been like going back and forth about for a long time. You just know in your bones it's time to decide. So that's one thing that has been huge this month, and that relates to all kinds of things. Like, is a business no longer sustainable? Okay, you know what? It's just supposed to be more of a hobby for me. Okay, cool. Yeah, I gave it a try and the numbers don't lie, right? Move on. So it can be very easy to be clear like that. And realizing also, this is really the point of the podcast today, I want to talk about, because this is so Aquarian, and this has been a huge part of my life, and I've never talked about it. I'm like, there we go. We're reflecting on Aquarius, and here, this is what's coming through. Have you ever noticed that it seems like there are people that are placed in your life just for chance encounters to share consciousness, just in service, right? So there's a gentleman that we mentioned in the first Aquarian transmission, and we actually just had an amazing encounter with him again, and that was the inspiration for today's podcast. And it's about allowing ourselves to have grief and to have emotions. And it just feels really timely as we're getting ready for Pisces. If you're not typically a super emotional person, or maybe you have some repressed stuff, which we're all good at that. We're new at emotions. It's a new skill set, really, to consciously work with them instead of just, stuff them away, and then it kind of starts to build up and get heavy. Feels like you're carrying quite a load. Well, we don't have to carry it. Care but don't carry, something Sandra Walter said. I just love that so much. We care, but we don't carry. So how does this all come back together? This gentleman, this lovely man, he's walking with his dog, and it had been a few weeks since I had seen him, and we'd had a stop and chat. And he's just sharing that he's having a hard time processing his grief, really, and just coping with the loss of his wife. It's been almost 2 years in March. And I said, well, one of the biggest things I ever learned, I'm so thankful, is how big our hearts are, and that we're allowed to feel immense suffering and grief. And also that there's still love in there. And if we can open and expand to that, it assists our experience. We feel a lot more balanced and strong as we continue to learn how to process emotion. Some of these experiences are really intense. We're having subconscious programming come up too. So everything has some kind of an energetic attachment or a response or a reaction to it. And emotion. And it can be a lot of work to process emotions, just know. I've had a lot of wonderful old programs come up, like root chakra stuff, and I have to look at it and just feel it and let it pass on through. It's just a wave crashing through me. But it's intense while it goes through, for sure. And then you're so tired. So it's been a lot of tired but wired as well, not really sleeping. We've had these X-class flares going on, so a lot of solar activity. So you could be buzzing with electricity. It's a very stimulated nervous system. So my favorite for this is doing Tai Chi Gong in the forest. I hike almost every day in the forest right now for this phase to really ground and connect with the elementals. So this gentleman was just sharing that he's having a hard time, and I was like, oh wow, someone you haven't talked to very much, and they're telling you that they're having a hard time and they're struggling with some of the qualities of their thoughts. I thought, oh, okay, well, let's hang out a little bit. So I was just sharing some resources with him, like Rick Hansen, so amazing, his work about the nervous system and the neuroplasticity of the brain, and starting to cultivate a practice, and you can base it on science, but starting to cultivate a practice to create inner peace and to bring in some positivity, some light, some love, even when we're going through grief. So if we're just looping like, this sucks, this is so hard, I'm so unhappy, if that's all we're looping, yeah, we're going to have a very, very tough time. It may not want to be here anymore, right? It can feel that deep. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. So you want to make sure that you allow yourself to feel all the things, get it all out of your system, observe it all, and then say, okay, all of that, okay, and you want to bring in the things you have to be grateful for, what you appreciate, what was beautiful today. And like Rick Hansen says, this wonderful teacher, I highly recommend his work, it's just one drop in the bucket at a time. And maybe it's one drop in one day in the bucket at a time. But eventually, as this is your practice, this is your lifestyle of balancing yourself out, then all of a sudden, one day, there's a shift inside and you're like, oh my gosh, I finally feel full. I have like a full cup here. This is really nice. I don't know if I've ever felt like this. And there's this contentment, right? They call it santosha, a deep peace. But it's a cultivation. It's a practice. It's a commitment. So Post-its can be really helpful. I say I've got to write it down. I'm very much out of sight, out of mind. I got to write it down. And so I'll even write down like, okay, remember to journal today, because I'm incorporating this into daily. And each day it's so full and there's so much going on that you have to intend and make space for something or it ain't going to happen. So the wonderful mantra that we're sharing, that was inspired by Serious Joy and Christopher Witecki, who is so amazing. I highly recommend their astrology services. They're absolutely amazing. He was talking about, for the theme of this year, I love myself and I love my life. And I thought, wow, that is a very powerful statement. That could be a daily mantra to work with and see what comes after when you say that. What's feeling not in alignment with that? So I extended it, and I share this in my teachings, and I practice it myself. I share it with everyone I know, and I shared it with Mel today. And just for today, I'm going to love myself. And then I'm going to love myself some more. And I love my life. And that may not be 100% true for you right now, but you're opening the door to it. And this is dynamic change. This leads to what the other words we've been hearing, the inner evolution, revolution. And a fun way to see this is the word revolution, but the R is in parentheses because it's inside, right? By starting to actually put into practice processes like this, little mantra, little self-love, kindness to self when you're going through something rough. So basically the cessation of judgment, right? And criticism of self and others, and just being with whatever is. So there's definitely a lot of, Jedi, monk, Zen stuff going on with this. My favorite is Buddha on Quaaludes going 90 miles an hour. Because to me, that's how all the sensations feel. And they cross over each other. So you have to hold that extreme calm. Extreme calm. That sounds kind of funny. So anyhow, moral of the story today, trust that your heart is big enough to feel grief and also love at the same time. Because even if you don't feel love, there is love here all around you. All you have to do is bring your attention to it. You'll feel it in nature. You can connect with the angels, just the higher power, touching in with your soul, coming out of the smaller identity into the larger one. that starts to create this balance. So there's that figure 8 again, that horizontal infinity loop saying, make sure you balance both sides, right? And so it's about the divine human. And this is part of Aquarius. So we're bringing that divinity and that lightning fast genius, innovation, and potential for massive catharsis and inner revolution, evolution within yourself to really feel what it's like to love yourself and how that shifts your whole reality. This is revolutionary for so many of us. This is a radical concept for so many of us. So you want to have a practice and you want to write it down. Write that down. Something funny me and my daughter say, oh, write that down. Because we're all so expanded in the now that if we just say it, it's going to fly off somewhere. It's like, oh no, if that's something that's important, we need to write it down so we can make it happen. So I tell my daughter, no, we got to light ground this, write that down. And that way we can start to put energy in that direction. Otherwise it's just zip. Oh, what was that? I don't know. On to the next thing, right? There's just so much information, so much happening. So if you're not feeling multidimensional by now, you will. You will. And now with Pisces, now remember, it's coming in, it's next week, and you can look into it. But it's going to be a different energy. So you want to prepare yourself for the emotional journey and to have a lot of compassion, immeasurable compassion, people, for yourself and others. Right? This is the great softening open, the great awakening process is a softening one to receive all that is here. All that is here, because there's a lot of beauty and love and magic waiting for you to open to that. So you could be going through something that sucks and something that is amazing at the same time. And in truth, that's how it's going to be from now on. But are you focusing on everything that is present? Make sure. Are you looking for the magic? Are you looking for the beauty, the blessings, the gifts, the surprises, the delights? You got to get in your heart and that tickle, bringing your attention to your heart and feeling that little tickle, flicker, magic. It feels like when you laugh, that feeling in your heart, there's a fluttering going on. So you want to find that and say, okay, what else? Make sure and assist this. Please share this information with others. So when you have these chance encounters with other beings, other souls, and they tell you something, maybe they're having a hard time, or they're down, and you can give them a little candle, and just tell them, oh, this is actually, there's a science, a neurological process to make sure that you are feeling more balanced in your emotions, right? And it's actually neurochemistry. And so we can improve our neurochemistry ourselves, because if you just start appreciating and taking in light, then it starts to balance things out in your brain. It's quite fascinating how we're made, the amino acids, the bliss chemicals. Yeah, it's incredible. That's why our eyes take in light the way they do. And there are many ways to do that. So anyhow, thank you so much for joining me for this. Enjoy the end of Aquarius as we get ready for Pisces. And again, you can see where they actually end and begin. I'm already feeling Pisces, that's why I'm talking about it. It's filtering in, and I'm seeing in the collective. And so it felt very relevant at this time to share this. So remember, you're an ocean of compassion and potential. And this is the age of Aquarius. We got to start with a lot of aqua, our humanitarian coming out. The opportunity to be angels and boots on the ground of service all the time. Even when you're on a hiking trail, or in line at the grocery store, or the watering hole, if you have a watering hole. Where I live, we have a watering hole to get water out of the aquifer. So I'm hoping to have some footage to share. Next week, we're going on a gridworker journey to Aspen, Colorado. We'll see what the weather does. It already went from sunny to snowy. And mountains are their own universe and create their own weather. So we could have a wonderful combo of snow and sun, which I would love. But we're going to be grid working and connecting all of the mountains. And if you would like to engage in some crystalline quantum grid working with me, wherever you are, where there are mountains, or if there aren't any mountains wherever you are, think of your favorite one then, favorite mountain ranges that you really feel a lot from, like a lot of awe and majesty and really amazing, and just start to connect. Ask your root to plug in to that mountain right now. And it's like this massive, beautiful crystal pyramid. Definitely feels better. I feel more grounded already just reflecting on that, seeing the mountains in my eye, my third eye, as I'm hiking. So connect in, secure the cable line, the crystalline pyramid mountain where you are. Feeling that energy of that beautiful mountain, wherever you are. Seeing what it looks like, just imagining it in your third eye. Maybe thinking of your favorite photos of it. And just feeling into the energy there, how big it is. And how it is a pyramid, right? It has a very wide base that tapers at the top. And so you want to see yourself inside that pyramid. And feel how the base is made of a square or rectangular shape, which is using 4, the energy of Earth. So you want to connect with how this shape is helping you to receive energy, to pull energy from the Earth, to receive the energy that's already flowing up through you from the Earth as a gift of being here in the body. We just have to tune into it. There's a lot of energetic support here, guys. We just got to ask to be shown and tune in, and you'll feel so good, much more energized. So seeing this energy coming up through you and out the fontanelle at the crown of the head, through the apex of the pyramid, into the soul star, and into the grand central sun. So all of us are officially plugged in and beaming as a light core. Satellites all over. Quantum crystal gridwork. And just connecting to the planet, our hearts, the heart of the universe, the grand central sun. And just enjoying running the energy up from the earth through your body, up and out through the crown of your head to the grand central sun, and down from the grand central sun, down through your crown, down through your body, down through your root into the earth. So we're kind of this transducer, right? And just spend some time here reflecting on what you feel, what's coming up for you, as you imagine yourself to be the mountain. And just enjoying also that beautiful receiving energy from on high, from the grand central sun, through the soul star, through the crown, through the body, down and through the body, into the core of the earth. Pulling that energy up from the core of the earth, up and through the body and out the crown of the head, going up through the soul star and into the grand central sun. Equal exchange. And when you're ready, you can come out slowly, welcome back, enjoy the stability of feeling the mountain, feeling that expanded connection as well, heaven and earth through you, heaven on earth through you, and start to tune in to the emotional information and journal, see it, work through it, release it, bless it, whatever you got to do. Rituals are great. Do a burn ritual. We have a wonderful resource for that here on the channel. And we will see you after the Rockies. Namaste.